for those lifestyle advantages or choices that they make. So I wouldn't make quite so much.
Here I'm recording
as
Radio New Zealand on
Okay.
13.840 megahertz
But look, I think also
from Berkeley, California.
Vaccination's going to be a big shape.
Has a nice, strong, clear signal tonight.
There will be less pandemic-driven reverse migration anyway, because people will think, oh, well, we can stay for another couple of years, we can travel a little bit more. So I think it'll balance itself out, to be honest.
Just finally, Tony, before you go, just some very brief advice for New Zealand businesses who are hoping to recruit people who are returning.
This is my ham radio receiver, which works pretty good for shortwave also.
Are on the ground in New Zealand are often being discounted because they don't have New Zealand experience, instead of being potentially valued because of their offshore experience. And so I think the message here is, let's think outside the box a little bit with these Kiwis coming home, not perhaps just the job description that's in front for this role, but of the wider value that
I'm
they
expand the
could bring to
window
an
a little bit so you
organisation
guys
with
can
skills
see
and
what the
experiences.
screen looks like.
And certainly, just to echo some of Heather's points, these Kiwis are coming home for lifestyle. That comes through clearly.
There you go. This is a duplicate of what's on the LCD screen of the radio.
To give back.
Okay, Tony, kia ora for that. Appreciate you being on the program. That's Tony Truslove there, who is the Kia New Zealand Chief Executive. It's 11 to 5. The panel are NZ National, Peter Dunn and Heather Royal with me today. Now, for something very different, and this is wonderful. It's about our sports collection. An Invercargill sports fan has collected more than 20,000 pieces of sporting memorabilia, writes Jamie Searle and stuff. Carl Wilson's rugby jersey includes 85 from the All Blacks, including Colin Meads and Jonah Lomu, as well as Springbok captain Danny Craven from 1937.
No idea who he's talking about.
With collector Carl Wilson. Welcome to the program, Carl.
Carl Wilson. Ooh, important interview with Carl Wilson, whoever that is.
How long? I've seen the images, I've seen the video of your wonderful memorabilia collection. How long have you been collecting?
I started when I was just a kid, really, and I was trawling through the antique or second-hand shops looking for, dare I say it, Elvis Presley LPs or marble top bottles. I've always had that passion to collect. Yeah.
I'm thinking of a question I'm going to ask about this treasured item that I think is pretty cool. But do you have a most treasured item?
Yeah, quite a few, really. Probably George Napier's jersey from 1924. One of the ones I like. And
you have a George Napier jersey?
Yep, from 1924 versus Cardiff, and I managed to bring that back from Wales, and that was quite an emotional moment.
I think this is New Zealand rugby.
Jersey.
I think nobody in the USA knows anything about New Zealand rugby.
1936 Razor. We had 4 Olympians to both those games, so that's Hitler's games and the Paris games.
The one that I
returned from overseas.
Yeah. One that that caught my attention rather, was the white All Black jersey.
Yeah, Joe Karam, 1975 versus Scotland. That was the Waterloo. Well, that jersey was used. One of those famous tests was known as the water polo test or Waterloo test in Auckland. But he scored quite a few points in that jersey.
Pretty cool collection, eh, Heather?
It is. It's just amazing. What is it about Invercargill, Carl? Because there's still Richardson's Transport World, which is an absolutely fantastic museum. And my favourite shop in Invercargill was E. Hayes and Sons, where you've got all the hardware, and then you wander through, and there's all these museum displays.
Well, that's a good idea of what there is on shortwave a little bit. It sounds better. Mostly shortwave doesn't sound as good. But seems to be coming extra clear tonight from New Zealand. I just have a really clear path. Also, California to like the Pacific seems to have a really clear path, so we get a lot of Pacific stations pretty clearly, because it's all blotter.
Pockets of wonderful expertise that we don't know about, and yet we almost need to have a national census of all of the hobby collectors of wonderful things to know what we've actually got available to us in New Zealand, how they can be preserved and how they can be protected for the future. And you've done a sterling job. I just was thinking as you were talking, I was thinking with some embarrassment about My grandfather was an All Black in 1922, and I can remember we had his
All
jersey
black.
at home.
No idea what that is.
Terribly moth-eaten and destroyed, because they were heavy woolen jerseys in those days.
They were.
So, it just didn't survive. But you think, these things are part of our national heritage and our national character, and people like Carl, who store them and lovingly care for them, are doing a huge service. And so I'm just deeply envious and sort of admiring of what you do.
So people can come through and look at your museum, Carl?
Yeah, I predominantly open it up for charities to do a bit of fundraising, so I don't open it up to the public. It's just, if a charity wants to come through and they want to charge $10 or $20, I'm happy to sit there and talk for an hour and a half about it.
How do you get your memorabilia? You said you went to auctions and antique stores, or did people come to you and say, we've got something we want to gift to the museum?
Yeah, I do get a little bit of that. Not a lot, to be fair. Like there's the National Rugby Museum in Palmerston North, and they do a sterling job. They do a wonderful job, actually, and I know...
the National Rugby Museum in New Zealand, obviously.
This is just
it's like way out of my league, this conversation. I have no idea about any of this.
But no, I probably buy 99% of what I get, and I trawl the auctions around the world, and if I see something that's New Zealand related, then I'm all over it.
Carl, thank you so much for being on the panel. It's just so lovely to have you join us, and keep up the collecting.
Look, hey, thank you for the time.
Yeah, and we never even got to talk about the turnstile from Carol's book, from the House of Pain, that we picked up a couple of months ago. But Peter, you are right. Hey, it's those small collections around the country. He's doing all of us a service. Really, his passion is actually making sure this memorabilia is here for all the New Zealanders.
Well, when I was Internal Affairs Minister and had an interest in these things, I was always saying to the people at the archives and the museum, what about all the local historical societies and historical groups around New Zealand? What do we know about what they've got? Because I suspect there'll be treasures there in some of these little storehouses or under people's beds that are priceless. We don't know about them. We know about the big things, but not these other little things. And Carl's a classic castle point.
Now, finally, to our small business segment, our local small business segment, and we did this every Monday, so highlighting small business. And more often than not, having recently started up with a focus on New Zealand made and or designed and owned. And by the way, if you have a small business that you might like to be profiled, email us, thepanel@rnz.co.nz. But there aren't many local companies giving shoemaking a go. So we thought we'd take a look at a local company making some pretty cool sneakers. They're called Spirit Shoes. That is Spirit, and Jack Montgomery
Spirit
one of the founders.
Shoes.
Jack, welcome.
Hi, Wallace. Thanks for having me.
Well, I think that's enough. I think we got enough of Radio New Zealand here.
Yes, sir.